what the problem was, is that it was me. I forgot to hit the one button.
Oops.
And so we are live, and all of that little previous stuff about me laughing just hit the live as well. So I love that
Great.
whole delay. That's great. If you are just tuning in, make sure that you use the comment section and let us know where you're from. We'd love to hear who's watching us live and where you're watching us from. But so Emma, are you ready?
Yeah. I'm ready. Are you ready?
I am ready. Okay, so today's episode is Finding Your Style. I am Daphne Cote, professional artist and art instructor, and my buddy here,
Emma Wales, a professional artist and art educator. Welcome to the Emma Daphne Show.
Yes. And yeah, today we're going to be talking about style. You can find a lot of the links to the things that we're talking about below in the description notes. So you can find things, links to all the different things that Emma and I are doing, and to the paint spot, and to what we're going to be talking about, which is our reference material.
Yes.
Which is super fun. But do you want to talk first about what we just finished doing?
Yeah, so I still have mine out. Daphne and I just finished our very first art night together.
Mine's not finished yet.
So we used this beautiful Birds of Paradise reference image from Laurels on White. And Daphne and I co-taught how to paint these acrylic florals. So the first 3 art night projects that we're going to be doing are all acrylic. This is our last day for the Emma and Daphne Show focusing on florals. So we wanted to tie in our art project for art night with what we've been doing on the show.
Yes.
And the next 2 art projects will also be in acrylic.
Yeah.
But after tonight, we have some new themes for the month. So we have portraiture set up for May. And are we doing still May the following month, Daphne?
I think so. That's what's on the lineup. Yeah.
So all 3 of our very first paint or art night materials will be acrylic. So if you were wanting to purchase our kit through the paint spot, it will serve you more than just for the Emma and Daphne Show. It will also be great for our next 2 now art nights.
Yes. Yeah, so we put together just a little package coordinated with the paint spot. Just some like basic essential things that you might need. So if you're just starting out, or if you need to completely restock, they have just so generously put together a package for us. So if you go onto their website, or if you go to the link below, you will find it there. If you go onto their website, just put into the search Emma and Daphne, and you'll find our art kit. So today we are using some fun reference photos. Do you want to talk a little bit about what sparked our reference image?
Yes. Okay. So our theme for today is style and finding your style. And initially, Daphne and I had planned to use Matisse as our point of inspiration, and we were going to kind of interpret.
But that's not what we're doing. Don't get stuck on that. We were going to, but we're not going to now.
We were going to interpret a photo in his style. But I don't know if you have maybe been catching any of this on Instagram, or if it's been going on other social media channels as well.
Everywhere.
But right now there's this huge challenge going on. It's the Van Gogh Museum contest. So
with Royal Talens.
Yeah, it's hosted by Royal Talens, and the whole idea is that artists from all over the world are sharing their Van Gogh-inspired work. And we thought, since we are focusing on style, and
Yes.
since there's all of this Van Gogh stuff happening, earlier today we were like, hey, what do you say about completely rechanging our discussion topics for tonight?
Because
I felt good about it.
That's
Daphne, how do you feel?
Yeah, it makes life lively that way. If you just like switch things up on the last minute, like, hey, let's do something else that we actually feel a little bit better about doing. Because we have tons of stories about Van Gogh and Van Gogh like experiences. And we wanted to talk about style, which Van Gogh definitely had style, definitely his own way. And we want to talk about how that came about. And yeah, it just lends itself really great to the medium. So we had Emma and I went and looked up which museum is it again?
It's the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam.
In Amsterdam, right. So I'm just pulling up the reference image now. So we are using this beautiful iris painting that Van Gogh did as our reference. So yeah, it's quite
the
fun.
Photo quality is amazing. There are so many museums in Europe that have been uploading like digital copies of the artwork in their collections, and it's unreal, the detail and the brushstrokes. Like, it's just absolutely gorgeous. So Daphne's pulled it up.
Yeah, and you can go down to the show notes, and I put in a link directly to the museum because you can't just save the photo. They've got all of that stuff taken care of so that you can't reproduce a high quality image of it, which is great. But also, if you go and on your web browser and look it up, you can zoom in and see all this really crazy detail. So I have brought up this image here, which has a little bit more to do with the brush strokes, and so that you can see a little bit more of the texture, which is really quite incredible. That's really inspiring.
So pretty.
Yes, I'm picking up a paintbrush. I'm going to go after it.
I'm just going to grab a swig of water here, and then I'm going to start. What are you going to start with, Daphne?
I'm going to coat the whole thing in yellow in the background, but I think I'm going to do like a greenish tint of yellow. So that's what I'm going to start with. But I want to talk about his whole like style, and how really style in anything comes from just necessity, like happy accidents. So with Van Gogh's style of painting, it's all due to the fact that they started to make lead tubes for artists to carry paint in, and they also started to develop art supply stores. So people would make stretched canvases for artists. So artists just had to go into a store and buy these things. Whereas before, you had to, it was part of your studio practice that you had to have a shop to make all of your stretchers, to stretch all of your canvas yourself. You had to prime all of it yourself, and then you had to make all of your paint. So that's why artists were kind of constrained to always being in the studio in order to paint. So they'd go out and they'd sketch different designs and things, but then they would go out, but then they'd have to bring it back to their studio, because you'd have to have all of the things in order to make your paint. And even then, sometimes they would put the paint into like little leather sacks and like bind it with a leather strap and hope that it all holds in together, and then try to travel with that. So then they couldn't carry many colors. So anyways, they developed these lead tubes that they could put the paint into, and carry it to different locations. And then you have the whole like impressionist movement, and things like Van Gogh, people like Van Gogh that are coming out and being able to paint on site. So then they're inspired by the landscape, they're inspired by the things around them, But then they also have to contend with the fact that light is shifting and changing in the natural world. So they have to like paint as fast as they can. So then you get these like really lively brush strokes and so some interesting things like that. And then also the colors, at the same time they develop these lead tubes. They also there's the whole industrial revolution, and we get a whole bunch of new colors coming out of working with metals that didn't exist before. So your cobalt blues and your cadmiums and things like that all come from that time. So there's a change in technology, a change in the way that they do things, a change that causes a change in the way that they live, and the development of like stores carrying art supplies, and people making art supplies for artists in metropolitan areas. So it was just like a huge cultural shift. So it's really kind of cool because we're thinking about it now. How much is this social isolation, all of these new technologies, things like us streaming live to you through YouTube using all these different programs, how is that going to change and affect the way that we do things as artists, the way that we do things as people? So I think that it's a really great topic for now. I just ranted. Real hard.
I love it.
Like,
I think it's
that was
really
like a superstar, like a superhero monologue. If I was a superhero of art and art history, that would be my monologue.
What I think is like super, super cool about that is when we were talking about style and how style can be born out of necessity, like that was something that was on our radar when we had our initial plan of tackling
just to do the show.
Like random reference image and the style of Matisse. And having switched our approach for the show tonight, like this is even more a testament to how much like conditions can form or inform your work and your style. Yeah. Like outside of your intent.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so it's really quite interesting, and yeah, I'm so glad. It wasn't my idea either. It was Emma's. It was her idea. She can take all the credit for it. I was just like super excited, and I'm like, I could say so much about this, and obviously I can because I totally ranted.
It's perfect. Well, because initially Daphne and I were having a conversation today, and I was saying, oh, it's going to be so weird to paint in the style of Matisse. I've been painting Van Goghs all week for this museum challenge, and then the light bulbs just kind of went off. Where it was like, hey, what say you?
Yes, I say yay. Let's do it.
Yeah. Thankfully, I have a co-host that's every bit as nuts as I am.
Yes. Yeah, we're in it together, as they say. We always have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's.
I'm on a mission to use up as much paint as I can from our last gig.
Yeah.
From our art night.
I keep looking at the screen. So we do have Jenny and Twyla have joined us.
This is so great. We missed you last week too, Jenny.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't want to respond because it was in the middle of Daphne's art.
My art monologue.
But yeah, it's great to have the two of you back with us. Thanks so much for coming online on a Friday night.
Yeah. We are very appreciative. You guys make the show more fun.
Mm-hmm.
And how the heck are you starting this? What are you doing there?
I didn't want to do too many, well, I say that now, layers of paint. I'm just kind of blocking out the general, like I put down some of the green.
Yeah.
So Daphne and I had cropped this image earlier. I'm working from our cropped image, not the one that's up in its entirety.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Go back to that one. We'll show it.
I've been appreciating having this one here. Do we get to see what you're both doing for the Van Gogh challenge? Daphne, were you planning on doing anything for the Van Gogh challenge, or did I spring this on you?
You sprung it on me. I don't know. like maybe this is it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I'm happy to show mine.
Oh yeah, please do.
I've
I've been
been
a bit of a
complaining.
slacker this week. I had a really good start though. I had lots of. I've been tutoring, doing some art tutoring lessons, so I did really good in that area. Um, but then I don't know. The rest of the week I started to kind of fizzle out, doing more. I don't know, internal work with my brain. I guess I don't know. Is that what you would call it?
So
Some
I don't even know,
soul
like
searching and some
yeah.
I don't thinking about life and wise choices. I don't know. That's what I always say to my teenager when he like leaves the house. I'm like, make wise choices.
You're that mom. Make good decisions.
That's right. No.
Yeah. So the 2 questions on the dock right now. 1, how am I tackling this? 2, are we going to share our Van Gogh challenges? And it's good to work on your brain, says Twyla.
Oh, good.
Well, so yeah, for tackling with Daphne, I'm just blocking out the rough shape of where yellow is not going, and then I'm going to fill around it with yellow.
Oh, okay. Got you.
So, like, I'm not detail focused right now. I'm just like, generally the pot's going here. I know there's green here, and then there's going to be blue spilling over, and then I'm going to fill over with yellow.
Right.
With respect to my Van Gogh challenges, I found some craft paint while I was cleaning, and normally I would donate it to the reuse center because I don't have use for it anymore. My mom has been dropping off vehicle loads of my crap from the basement, and so I'm confronted with like 20 years of art and craft supplies.
That you have been.
And since I can't give it to the reuse center because nobody is accepting donations in light of COVID, it's just been kind of sitting in a box, and I've been trying to figure out what to do with it. And then I saw this Van Gogh challenge, and I thought, I'll try to just use up as much of this as possible so it doesn't go in the garbage. And it has made me appreciate quality paint so much. It feels so good to be painting with real paint.
Oh my goodness.
But it's been fun.
I need more clips.
If you remind me closer to the end of the show, I'll bring them out. They're pretty bulky, so I won't grab them just yet. Are you working on anything for the Van Gogh challenge? Wonderful viewers.
Yeah, I would like to hear that too. Hear what people are working on. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to like...
What are you picking up, Daphne?
Oh, I was trying to put... Look at all these clips that are holding my book open. It's like a hairdresser or something. Just
Why
like,
so many? Like usually...
I don't know. It's the sketchbook's getting quite full. So I'm down to my like last, I don't know, 5-7 pages. And so it starts to develop its own personality and life of its own. So the pages are starting to curl, and like the spine fell off of it, like the outside spine piece fell off of it.
There's a word for that piece. I can't remember what it's called.
It's not called a spine?
No, like the spine is that whole, I mean like the flap, the cover.
Oh. Oh, I know. Oh, what is it?
Oh, the octopus was your... I did see that, Jenny. That was beautiful. How big is it? Jenny was just saying in the comments she's posted a Van Gogh octopus.
Oh, cool.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. I don't know why I've missed it.
I think it was today while I was scrolling through Instagram that it popped up in my feed. It's really beautiful.
I'm trying not to pay as much attention to social media at the moment, like just trying to answer my messages and things, but it's so hard. And then I keep falling down that pit. And luckily I have lots of people who tell me what I need to look at. So they'll send me messages and they'll be like, did you see this? And I'm like, oh, good. Somebody is informing me of the stuff that I do need to see instead of like looking for it.
I really miss not. Like, it's great for connecting, but before I started Art Ventures, I didn't have any social media. 20 by 20. Oh, nice. And it's nice to not feel like you have to see what's going on or you have to share what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because we've got like a little bit of extra time, or that it's like the main way that people seem to be communicating right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what's going to happen with social media. It's definitely evolving and changing, and people are going in different waves of modes of doing things too with it.
Yeah.
So back to like style.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on like how people find or develop style? Like, what do you think has worked well for you?
What has worked well for me?
Or thought processes behind it, or...
For me, so much of it is about... Sorry, I leaned completely out of the frame. So much of it is about the process and what feels good and what I enjoy. Like what brings me joy to create. So ultimately, I feel like you and I have very different careers in the arts because you work on lots of commissioned pieces and you ultimately always have to keep the end product in mind. Whereas I work with kids a lot, and even my drink and draws, like it's very much about exploring the process. So I never have an end project in mind when I'm teaching. It's all about exploring a technique or an idea or a theme and doing what feels really good. So when I'm actually creating work, like for the sake of having a finished product rather than just for like getting paint in my hands, I really love like bold and bright, and I like to have lots of room in between. Like you can definitely see modernist influence when I'm actually making art, but
yeah,
I find the process is what informs my style the most. How about you?
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say, is that like yours is so process driven, and that's what contributes to your style when you create work. What contributes to my work? That's a good question.
It's a really big question, isn't it?
So if you take like, I think, so when I'm trying to teach people, especially when when I'm teaching professional development courses, I think that it comes up the most then, because they're like, well, I need a cohesive body of work, or somebody says that I don't have enough of a distinct style. And I think that whenever that comes about, it just means that you have to study something with some focus.
Yeah.
You already have style, because especially when you're creating something with your hands, you have this physical anatomy that nobody else has. That's why we like sign our signature, right? For things, is because it's very hard to copy that. So already you are born with a style.
Yeah.
And then you develop it more and more and more, sifting through life and life experiences. So for some people, they're really drawn to specific colors, probably because of really young experiences that they've had, like when they're really small children, that like they might be drawn more to blue than to red, and it might be part of their personality, whether they enjoy feeling calm more or excitement more, what makes them happier. And then you develop all these life experiences that make you more drawn to things, whether you like to look at landscapes versus working with people, versus abstracts. And then again, it goes into the mediums. And if you just keep going and following whatever you like and exploring that, you develop a style. But the thing is to have the focus. So if you're going to whenever people say, oh, well, you need to develop your style a little bit more, it just means that you need more focus in your work. So if you're going to paint flowers, paint, create some sort of project for yourself that creates a series. And
Yeah.
then you work through something. So I really want to get good at drawing roses. Well,
You do? Or
then
is this something that somebody is
just
saying?
like an example,
Okay,
then
yeah.
you want to fill a sketchbook full of roses. Um, and you could, if you really want to get good at a specific medium, then you need to fill a sketchbook or do a whole body of work just in that medium, whether it's like
Yeah.
oil paint or gouache or pencil drawing. You need to explore everything as far as you can go. And I think that's where, if you are bringing up children, that's where they decide between the ages of 11 and 14 is a really crucial age with the development of our brain, that if you just let them explore things to the nth degree, they will see themselves as creative people and creative thinkers.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you get the adults that, like, I get adults that come to me and they're like, I can't even draw a stick figure. And I'm like,
That's
that's because somebody told you between the ages of 11 to 14 something negative towards your creations and your creative process.
And I think so much of that is about the way kids are taught art in school when their teacher, who's a generalist and maybe has never taken an art class in their life, are expected to teach kids art, and it becomes all about copying and comparing. And so when kids are trying to learn how to be creative and instead they're learning to criticize their work because it doesn't look the same as,
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of that comes from. And there's lots of unpacking to do for, I think, a lot of adults even
Yeah.
too, who feel stuck because all they've done, like they haven't taught to think creatively or to take creative risks or to try something new or to push the limits of whatever
Yeah.
the medium or subject matter, it doesn't matter, whatever it is.
Yeah. And I think that that's like, it doesn't just apply to painting and drawing. I think it also
No.
applies to music. I think it applies to dance. And the thing that you can do as an adult with a child in that age range is the whole thing. There's this whole idea right now in parenting of tell me more, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the way to engage people is to do the whole like, tell me more about it. So if, like, I had this one kid years ago, and he was big into drawing guns. He wanted to draw guns, although his teachers thought it was inappropriate. His mom's like, like, it's kind of embarrassing how much he's drawing guns because I don't want people to think that he's going to be some violent kid, because he's not. And I said, no, guns are shiny. He's interested in the way that they function. He's interested in trying to get them to look in all these different ways. So instead of saying, like, can't you draw something else, which is like the death to all creative thinking, is like, how many different types of guns can you do? Like, challenge that. Like, say, okay, take it further. Now you've drawn all these different guns. Now put them into a scene. Like, how could you use this? And how could you take the way that you drew the metal on this and draw something else that's metal, like a gun type of thing? So then you just keep manipulating it and changing it, and then they turn out to be like geniuses in their field because they're able to explore things. So you get to teach them how to teach themselves and explore things. And yeah, so
when you said that thing about tell me more, my face lit up.
I know, why? Tell me more, Emma.
So before you even got on the tell me more train,
yes,
I was thinking how much finding, like when you were talking about how finding your style means you need to spend some more focused time.
Yes.
I was thinking that sounds so much like people writing and finding their own voice.
Yes, yeah.
Like whether like it's actually to become an author or a poet, or even if it's just academic writing, finding your own voice when you're writing is so much about figuring out what works for you, what you like, how you like to read it, how, like, what you want your tone to be. It's all the same little intricacy things.
Yeah.
And then when you're talking about this thing with parenting and this tell me more and pushing it, one of my favorite profs, who's actually one of my English literature professors, anytime you needed to expand, I apologize for the girls.
You're good.
Do I mute?
No, you're good. Just talk through it. So the prop.
Anytime she needed you to expand on anything or you had an idea that wasn't fully fleshed, she would always just write TM, tell me more, in the margins of your paper.
Oh, okay.
I think it's such a strong prompt.
Yes.
For so many different things. But tell me more. Like, it needs to be the thing.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know, more people need to expand on things and like explore things, and it's really helpful to other people if you say those key words. And I do want to give a little bit of I want to share this book. Let's bring up this reference image here. But I wanted to recommend this book. I didn't put it in the show notes. I'll have to do it afterwards.
Yeah,
but it's Steal Like an Artist is a absolutely fantastic book on getting you to think about your practice and how you work with things. If you are an artist of any sort, it's an amazing read. Just being a person is you need to read these things. And it just tells you how to cultivate ideas and how to bring things together, and how to look at yourself, how to create a good work ethic. And it's a really easy and simple read. You can read it in a day quite easily, but it will honestly change your life. It's fantastic. Jenny says, yes, I was told I couldn't do people. Daphne helped me move forward from that thought pattern. Of course, anybody can draw people. That's silliness, isn't it, Jenny?
Who's that book by?
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Your leg is already shortening. That was quick. I don't think we're too far ahead.
Oh, it was... I'm lagging, so... Austin Kleon. Here, let's see this. Steal Like an Artist. Is that coming the right way around, or is it backwards?
It's backwards on my Zoom. YouTube yet. There it is on YouTube. It is mirror image.
Okay, so Steal Like an Artist. Sorry about the mirror image. 10 Things Nobody Told You About Being Creative by Austin Kleon. Austin. And last name is Kleon. Kleon. And I will put that in the show notes later after we're done this evening. It's just a fantastic read. A really good one. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, I remember coming across that book years ago. I never purchased it, but I think of it frequently. Like, it's one that still crosses my mind.
It's still on the list?
Yep.
I ordered some books.
I know you just got them.
Yeah, I got one of them, but I've got another one coming up. It's because sure you can find a lot of things on the internet, but still I often like to have like books for reference. So I picked up the symbolism of tattoos of like different.
Cool. Stuff like that I prefer to have a hard copy of.
Yeah.
I love books, like books as objects.
I know.
I don't think I could ever be an e-reader person.
I've tried and it's hard. If you're gonna do the e-reader thing, you might as well just do the Audible thing.
Yeah.
And listen to it.
I fall asleep though.
Yeah. I used to listen to books on books on tape. I don't even, that's how old I am.
On
Books on
cassette?
tape. Um, while driving to different things. It's kind of like podcasts, right?
Yeah.
So it depends on how lively it is. What is it? The is it
I don't know what you're
Art
asking.
of
So I'm sorry, I
War?
can't
There's a
help.
book that's called The War of Art or The Art of War or
The Art of War.
yeah, I think that might be it. That I listened to on a drive once. The only problem with that is that I start to speed a little.
Yes,
I
Jenny
get
just
to
said real books are like real paintings versus print.
yeah, agreed.
Appealing to the artist in us.
Yeah, probably.
How are you coming along? Yours is so far away.
Is it? It's far
Yeah.
away?
It feels far.
Okay, let me just scooch.
Oh, you know what? Maybe it's just that I got used to looking at your canvas.
Oh,
when you're
maybe.
laughing.
Is that a little bit better? I pulled it
Yeah,
in
hold it
closer.
up for us.
So, oh, I have stuff falling out.
Oh, you've really got some nice blues happening already.
Yeah, I got dabbling in it. Now I'm just working on the vase a little bit.
On the what?
Vase.
Mm.
So we'll see.
I need to go in and fill some of this in around now.
Yeah.
Here.
What else? There was a story you were gonna tell. I forget.
I was going to tell you. Were going to tell a story about your mom, I think.
Oh yes, and then Van Gogh. We were gonna tell stories about Van Gogh. So my mom and I went to New York to see. The excuse was that the Michelangelo show was at the Met. And
But what show?
The Michelangelo show.
Okay. Oh.
Yes. It was incredible.
Yeah.
And I had been to the Met before, and I thought my mom, who is a potter, sculptor, she works in clay, she makes a lot of like functional things. And I thought that she would be really big into the Degas sculptures,
Mm-hmm.
the little bronzes, and they've got like the little dancer, and I thought that she would love that, and the whole collection of pottery that they have there is quite amazing, quite extraordinary. So that's what I thought that she was gonna like.
Yeah.
But then we get to the section where they have European art, and there is a Van Gogh room. I think it's painted green or something, and it's kind of like tucked around a corner. So, and it's a room all into itself. I think it only has like one entrance exit. And she didn't know that it was coming, and she thought that she had seen everything, and it had been a long day. And she walked into the Van Gogh room, and she was just walking, and then she looks to the side, and she is like really close to the wall. So she was like a foot away from the Van Gogh and looks over, and she wasn't expecting it, and it caught her so off guard. She started bawling. She's like, "This is the most beautiful, unexpected thing I've ever seen." And she was just like a mess. And there were like, I don't know, quite a few other people into the room, and she could not help it. And she was just so like kind of embarrassed, and I don't know, it just like melted my heart, and it made me feel so good that she's my mom, that she would like. And they are so luscious and glossy. Like, you really have to go to the link that's down below, click on the Van Gogh Museum, and zoom in, because they are so thick. And so, like, the one that we have here is, like, the yellows are so vibrant and crazy. And so the ones at the Met were fantastic. But isn't it MoMA has Starry Night,
Yeah.
and that is a terrible letdown because of what we've done to it on the internet and through reproduction. So the Starry Night is so dull. It is dirty. It is not very vibrant in color. It is a grim looking dirty painting that if you had it in your grandmother's attic, you would think that it's close to being ready for the trash. Like it's
Oh, no way. I've never seen that one.
it's very dirty, and um it's a lot lighter than what we make it out to be, and a lot less blue. Like we really hype up the blue when we print it or when there's pictures of it on the internet.
Yeah.
And it's just not that way. But
Oh,
it is
that's sad.
crazy thick. Like the paint on it is just so gnarly. But then like sunflowers are so luscious and beautiful, and so you can tell that he's definitely in a different mind state. He still has the same style. You can still tell that it's him and it's the same brush strokes, but then you can tell that the mood and what he's feeling is completely different.
Yeah.
So often like style and things is still your own, but it can change subtly depending on the mood and the way that you feel,
Yeah.
which I always find really interesting.
Is that your first time seeing Van Goghs?
My
Like, have
second.
you, like, what's your experience? Yeah, and where else have you, like, I'm just curious.
Just
'Cause we've
just
never
in
talked
New
about
York.
this before. In New York?
Yeah, I
'Cause
haven't been to
we
Europe
haven't
yet,
seen the same ones in person then, because I've never
No.
been to New York.
and I have not been to Europe.
Yeah.
It's on my list.
So what have I seen? I've seen his self-portrait with the blue behind him that everybody.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I've seen the church.
And I have not
I'm
seen
trying to
any
remember.
portraits, I don't think. Oh, no,
I've
maybe
seen the one
one.
at the hayfield as well with the bale of hay. I know he's done a couple. I can't remember which one. But those are the ones I have experience with, and I wasn't disappointed by any of them. Like they took my breath away.
Oh, right.
So what you're describing with Starry Night, like, was not at all my experience with Van Gogh.
I think that it's just because of all the crazy hype.
Oh, absolutely. It's like how everyone's disappointed with the Mona Lisa because she's this big and she's facing a like giant painting that fills an entire wall.
Yes, I think that that's probably very close to it because right around all of the Van Goghs, like you walk through the Picassos at MoMA, or you did anyways at the time that I went, and they were so much bigger and so much more fabulous than I thought they were going to be.
I love Picasso so much.
I know you do.
Oh, so
I know
much.
you do. Which is great.
Yeah.
All right, I better like switch. I gotta like focus.
I know, I keep getting distracted and looking away from my artwork here too.
We have too much fun. And it's so weird because like on days like today, I don't know why we didn't talk to each other much this week, not as much as we normally do. And so then today we've been talking to each other a lot, and still like it's like, coming up to 9 o'clock.
Teaching an hour-long class together.
And we could still talk all evening. Like, I love that.
I love that story of your mom, though.
Yes.
How amazing.
Yeah.
Are there other well, I shouldn't even say other. What artists do you feel have the biggest impact on your personal style?
Oh dear. Okay, so for me, goodness. Well, I do love Picasso, and I love Picasso more so for the story of his life and how driven he was to create and how he worked through more so his process. So at a very young age, he could do some crazy representational artwork.
Yeah, he was incredible.
So like he could draw and paint people like nobody's business, and I just love that he, like it even says on my computer as my screensaver is learn the rules like a pro so you can break them like an artist.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Me too.
So
I've definitely started art classes with that written out on the chalkboard.
yeah. So then I really enjoyed that. So I pull from different artists all the time. That Steal Like an Artist book is great to describe ways of doing that. But mostly I study, um, I've studied a lot of art history from a really early age. So I've got that like deep, thick background in art history, and like
Really
world art history. Sorry, what was that?
Which really like is your vocabulary.
Yeah. So then it gives you all the tools to like
Mm.
speak through and use to communicate with. And then I am looking to my peers, like contemporary artists right now, um, representational artists. But then I'm also looking to artists in different mediums, and I'm having a lot of crossover. So I don't stick to one medium. I look to all of them. And everything from like, so I stick pretty much to like, sure, music can influence me sometimes, and so does literature, but it's representational figurative artists in all genres. So whether they're doing watercolor, graphic design, videos, movies, illustrators, concept artists are freaking amazing. Whether they're doing like the landscape art or like character design, and then just the way that they're using like light and shadow. And right now, well, I've started a tattoo apprenticeship this year, so I've been looking to a lot of tattoo artists as well, and how they approach different things. And then I just start to combine them to get the type of look and feel that I want, because really I think what my work is about is using light, color, composition in order to create a mood or a feeling overall. So I want to make you feel things that you can't express in words. Like I want things to go beyond words. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, so that's usually my drive and motivation. And that's why I love portraiture, because it gives, or like figurative work where you draw and paint people, because then you get a whole other layer of visual communication, because we have body language and body expression. So then I can basically take all of that language and like have it layered in with painting, with visual communication. So yeah, so that's, and even when the thing is that even when I'm painting a still life or when I'm doing a landscape, I always think of people. So I personify everything. So a tree then starts to take on characteristics of a person, or maybe a person might take on characteristics of a tree. Like whatever I'm trying to create that mood and feeling, it's always in relation to people, because it's our experience, right?
Yeah.
So does it really exist without us? And then you can get on some weird spiritual kicks if you like. But yeah, that's kind of my ideas and thoughts behind it.
I love that. I can listen to you talk about your art forever.
I've been alone for a really long time. I have no students. Well, that's not true. I am teaching on Monday afternoons and evenings, tutoring, giving private tutoring lessons to students. So if you're interested, yeah, hit me up, contact me.
I'm desperate for attention.
I am desperate for somebody to listen to me talk about art. My kids don't want to hear about it. Yeah. Yeah, come and listen to me. Talk with me. Ask me questions. Just somebody be a little bit interested. Yeah, it's been silly. I like drawing tattoos onto my daughter and onto my mom and yeah, the most like crafty artistic thing that any of them have been doing today is they made Play-Doh. That was
Out of
about it.
what? I'm just
How do you
curious.
make
There's so many
Play-Doh?
recipes. Yeah, there are lots of different ones.
Like flour, salt, um, tartar, and you just water and food coloring.
I've seen one somewhere with baby powder in it that apparently makes it like mega, mega soft.
Ooh.
And then another one I saw a while ago, which wasn't really great. It was just a 2-ingredient, no bake one. It was only cornstarch and lotion.
Oh.
It was super cool. It was really soft to touch, but it didn't have any elasticity. So like you would pull on it and it would just snap.
Oh. Well,
but
Russell
like-
Brand and his wife were making like basically like a Play-Doh type of soap. So
Oh, cool.
hand soap and cornstarch and oil, and it becomes like Play-Doh that's like soap to encourage
That's
kids
super
to wash their hands. It was for like World Health Day or something.
That's neat. I haven't heard of that one yet. Okay.
I don't really have
8:51.
enough purples in here, really. Yeah, so if you are enjoying our little spiel, if you like listening to us, and if you feel so, I don't know, drawn to inclined. Thanks, that's the word.
I got you.
Yeah. Please feel free to hit up our Patreon page. And there's different subscription levels if you want to support us and participate or do any of those types of things. Please feel free. Our goal is to get some mics. So if you are supporting us, that's what we're going to do with that moolah that you contribute, is that we're trying to get better quality sound going on. And maybe like a few more extra cameras so that we can have multiple views and things like that. Those are our goals.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
I do want to grab I said I would show my little
submissions. Yes, please go get your Van Gogh.
I'm going to show this before I do. I feel like I'm kind of at a natural end point because I want to give this some time to dry before I work over top of it.
Yeah.
And I can't find my black paint, and I really wanted to do some contrasts before I started to fill in the shapes.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of on pause anyways. So this is what I've got going on. Let's see here. I just thought I'd work across the page. I think it was Jenny mentioned earlier that she liked, or was it Twyla, working across the page like that.
Yeah.
Earlier today, Daphne and I were talking about how we might crop the image, and we have a very long, thin view, so I thought I'd roll with that.
Yeah.
Do you want to hold yours up, Daphne? I feel like you've made more progress than I have in mine.
No, I don't think so.
Oh yeah, you've got more detail work going on for sure. You're like a step beyond. I think mine is bigger and more spread out. That looks awesome.
Thank you. I'm having lots of fun. I'm glad that you picked this one out.
It was teamwork.
Yes, it was teamwork. We do work together quite well.
All right, I'm going to see if I can...
dig that out for us, and let's see how that's going.
Keep in mind, this is craft paint.
Yes, craft paint.
The alternative to the garbage.
Like, the stuff we were talking about, how sometimes, though, these things can inform your style, right? It makes you work in a certain way. Oh... I haven't even seen that one.
Oh, yeah, I did too.
Oh my goodness. Bring it closer. I want to see it closer. I'm going to change the camera shot here. Oh.
How much closer?
I love that.
Yeah?
Yeah, like super love it.
It was super fun.
That's amazing.
Oh, thanks, man. So that was the
Huh.
second one I did. I had lots of. I wonder if I can actually target here. I can't actually see what I'm doing. The trees were super fun and loopy to do.
They are so cool.
Especially
Yes.
This one, it was fun to draw, not looking at my paper, but looking at the reference image.
Yes. Well, that's how you study, right? Is when you draw and paint with your eyes.
Yes.
And then
I had lots, and that's kind of what what I was talking about earlier, how so much of it is the process for me. I loved drawing with a loose, quick hand while I was looking at a place other than the paper that I was drawing on.
Right.
That's fun for me. I love it.
Yes.
The other one is up here. See if I can pull it down. I just threw it on the wall so the girls wouldn't walk on it. The girls being dogs.
Yes, her girls are dogs. I didn't realize that was a painting. I thought it was a poster because you had it at the far corner of the room. I couldn't see. So Emma and I are having a hard time being apart because I make muffins and I want to give her one. But she lives far away from me anyways, an hour and a bit away from me. Yeah, so it would be a bit of a drive just to go and leave a box at the end of her driveway for her.
Yes, I wouldn't expect it. It would take less time for me to put on my big girl pants and make some muffins myself.
That's right. Yeah.
No, it wasn't watercolor paper that I used. It was just I think cardstock. It was actually paper that was given to me for free. A friend of mine has a contact that used to work at a print shop, or he used to work at a print shop, and they had lots that was being discontinued and was taking up space in his garage, and went, here you go.
Those are the best.
So I think of him every single time I use it. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate you.
Nice. Yes. Yeah, I get a bunch of stuff like that sometimes too.
Yeah, his room was lots of fun to paint.
Oh.
That was when actually that I was getting really frustrated with my paints because I had to be very creative with the way I mixed my colors because the way that normally you would want to mix your colors wasn't working. And I was like, Daphne, why? They say acrylic craft paint, but I don't even want to call them acrylic anything. It's just craft paint. And the way you explained to me the filler makes so much sense for why the color doesn't mix.
Yeah, so they combine a bunch of different colors, so it's not like a true color. And then they put in a filler so that it's more opaque and so that the color has something to bounce off of, because it's not meant to be used in layers, and it's not really meant to be mixed together. It's just supposed to be used as is. So they put all this filler stuff, and also it's cheap as dirt. So the way that I came across it was that when I was younger, there was a whole craze of folk art where people were using it on their furniture. So they dip one end of their paintbrush into one color, one end into the other, and then do this loopy petal type of design. So yeah. So anyways, we're wrapping up our show.
Jenny just said we are a joy to watch and listen to. Thank you so much. Always a treat to have you here.
Thanks, Jenny. Yes, I can't wait for all of this stuff to end because I am the last person to be itching for hugs because I have a big space bubble, but I am dying to give you ladies a hug. All these different people in my life, I just want to hug them all. I might become a hug monster after all this. Who knows? Probably not. I'll get sick of it within a week, but still.
No. I'm a hugger. I think that's everything, though. You talked about our Patreon page. You shared our work.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much.
Yes, thanks everybody for joining
us. Any questions, feel free to reach out to us by email or on either of our social medias.
Or drop it below. You can drop the comments below and we'll get to you. We check it a few times a week, so let us know. We will get it.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, thank you so much.
It was fun.